What is it that I'm saying? What is it that I'm saying? What is it that I'm saying? Well, I'm saying words, of course. Okay, and words, yes, are comprised of what? They're comprised. What are words comprised of? Words are comprised of many things. Things, it themselves is or are a word. Anything that you refer to would be considered, established, and associated with, as well as a categoried, labeled concept, as in your idea of it, what you accept it to be, what you understand it to represent. Yes, those are pants, but I call them trousers, and I speak Russian, so I call them whatever trousers are in Russian. But there's a word for pants in Russian, and it's a word for trousers in Russian. Is it the same word? Shit. It's an interesting question now, isn't it? Sometimes you don't have so many words for words, you understand. Now, where that is where it is. Until further notice, of course. And even when it isn't where it is, it's still going to be after where it was. And you know what I mean? And can't nothing change that except for um, not being able to have access to it, basically. You know, it'll be what it is. But if you don't know that it is what it is, then you know, it's only what it is to you. It can only be so much to you of actually what it is basically what I'm saying. Even coming back around to the term for it, right? As to why it was called that, who called it that first, and what happened since then. How it developed from that moment in the actual classifying of it, yes? But words are made up of syllables. Words are made up of sounds. Words are made up of letters. Letters are either vowels or consonants. Now, I could have rearranged what I just said in a sentence and said consonants first, and then I would have ended that sentence with a rhyming vowel. Because vowel rhymes with round as well as sound, right? Because words are made up of what? Words are made up of many things. Things itself is a word, just as words are things. You are not a thing. We are beings. Alright? Now it's interesting because there's a lot involved with the significance of how that actually applies and where it's it's most important, because it's like when you think of things a certain way, then it can't help but have to be that also to a certain extent, to certain degrees. Now, what is it that I'm saying? I said I'm saying words. Now, why am I saying words? Because so as to express or communicate myself, no? Or a concept that I am interested in sharing, presenting, visiting, developing, assessing, analyzing, whatever I'm interested in doing with it. What am I interested in doing with it? Shit. It was only half of what it is I would be interested in doing, even just mentioning it. Especially now it's only a third of a half because of course whoever the fuck might hear the fact that I mentioned it, I'm not looking dead in the face while I'm saying it to them. And I didn't forget what it is that I got on here to say. Because I didn't get on here to say nothing, but it is that I have to say it in order, of course, so as to connect how it could apply and the different significances, importances associated with, of course, concepts, ideas, acceptances, associations, references, yes? Because we got to have something to go on, you know what I'm saying? We got to have something to go by. Till now, and from on, and until it has been and will be truth is what to go by. Not proof, nigga. Right? A word is a proof, but the truth is the idea. You could quote me on that. You could tat it on your caboose. I said, or it was said through this person speaking, that it happens to be someone that you might consider as the one. The word. Yeah, what I said. And finish it for me. It's the proof. Right? While the idea is the truth. You know what I'm saying? Now, a lot gets lost in translation. You know what I mean? From truth to proof, proof to truth. Yes? Because what is that to prove, right? Prove involves some sort of doubt or some sort of question. Okay? Whether it's doubt or it's just curiosity. You know what I'm saying? Because just you can question something, not necessarily doubt. You just want to confirm based on its usage or growth. You know what I mean? Building, as far as like sequential connections or whatever. Yeah. A lot gets lost in translation from proof to truth, truth to proof. The truth is always, no matter even if while it's changing, it remains. It's the thing about the truth. What is true can change, but it does not change that it is still the truth. And that's beautiful. And that's kind of like the concept between languages and how you can translate terms, and how sometimes there's no type of translation for terms. You can't say pants. You can't and trousers. You can only say what would be pants across the board. Even if you was to say jeans, even if you was to say slacks, khakis. You know what I'm saying? Bottoms. It's all the same word in some languages, but then some languages. And what would make it to where they are? Because of course they're a little bit more polished, a little bit more cultured, a little bit more communicative, and involved with connecting concepts, is why there would already exist additional supplementary terms for particular terminology. Yeah, it's because they're involved with connecting concepts and have been at whatever particular established intervals. You know what I mean? Involved with officiating and officializing said, you know what I'm saying, milestones, as well as what do you call it? You know what I'm saying, areas of reality, of relevance, right? How it relates to whoever or whatever else, even within itself. It takes that though. It takes that what? It takes that consideration is what it takes. So I think that's what I had in mind. What I wanted to mention was to be considering. Right? They say the only way that evil can prevail is for good people to do nothing. That's the only way evil can win. Right? And even when it wins, it's only winning amongst itself. Right? What God has blessed, no man can curse. So, for evil to be winning, what is it winning? And how is it winning? Well, because of course, evil in itself is defeat, right? You know what I'm saying? Evil in itself is destruction. Within the seed, within evil is the seed of its own destruction. So even in it winning, it's destroying itself. Right? But the evil of men, even in good men, is to do nothing. And so that is the only risk. So as for your ass not to do nothing. Right? It's not a risk against you as a good person, but it would not be good not to do something. And something better than worse. Which would establish your ass as good to begin with. Ho. Now, I understand and appreciate as well as can empathize with ranges and parameters. Yes. Supportive brackets and structures so as to best impactfully affect in your actions. You can't do everything at once. You know what I'm saying? But that doesn't mean be repetitive. That doesn't mean be monotonous. Right? And whatever it is, then that's even more reason why. So as to illustrate that, how it's worthy, so as to do more with what it is that you're doing. If you can't do everything at once, let be what it is that you are doing. Be doing enough. Okay? Now, every one thing you do can add to the full of what it is that has been done, even if it's not only just you doing it. It's another part as well. But that's still the same principle in what I'm saying. As to whatever it is that you're doing, be doing it, quote unquote, enough. In other words, more than less. Right? And see, more than less is kind of relative too. Also, it's kind of like temperamental of a term, because to do little can sometimes be more. Right? To not do something also can be the better thing. Right? So when they say evil men do nothing or good men do nothing, they're saying, of course, to be understood in the phrase about the evil. Right? Because a good man or goodness in itself sometimes is to live a ascetic life, to live a recluse, not necessarily recluse, but just like reserved life. And that's kind of like surrounding the idea that I was having about even considerations. What you don't do, that would not be the best thing, is always better. That you haven't done it, because it's also to do something to not do something. Right? Just like it's to do bad by not doing the good thing. Even if what you're doing is not necessarily the worst thing. It's just not the best thing. Right? Now, that's kind of layered in itself, because a lot of times we're interested, right? We have a affinity for for bettering ourselves. Most people do. That, I mean, it's dying down now because of this confusion as to even where it is that you would even be able to best apply yourself. Like best shine at and grow where you planted at. Like where you planted at, somebody might have threw your seed in a patch of thorn bushes. You know what I'm talking about? Now, you can fend for yourself and survive through all of that. But is that the best environment for you? You gotta grow. But once you can grow through all of that, that's when you can know. And that's when you can decide if you want to stay where it is that you don't belong. If you never grow, you can't even ever see that, is what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Just because you're there don't mean you gotta stay there. You know what I'm saying? But if you never get there, then you can't move. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, that has to do with doing the right and wrong thing, right? That has to do with um, your energy being distributed constructively, right? And enrichingly. And how you only get one lifetime for that. And you only can make so many mistakes in some areas. Some areas you can't make no mistakes. Mistakes are not even allowed whatsoever sometimes. Like that rose in that thorn bush. Right, so it is to be doing the thinking, right? The figuring out of what it is that you're working with, where it is that you find yourself and where you stand at. And then about all defending your position all the time because you're still finding your footing. And that's fair. None of us are where we deserve to be, even the best of us. Okay? That's how greatness is exploited. You know what I'm saying? That's where you find martyrs at. That's the very, like, uh, what do you call it? You know what I'm saying? That's like the very idea of a martyr in itself. It's like a martyr shouldn't have to be necessary for it to be something sought after, right? There shouldn't have to be but one martyr if that energy is distributed effectively. So, as far as what you can do, and it even being what it is that you're doing, because of course you haven't even learned the translation of what it is you're doing, and if it can be translated as dynamically as it is that you're attempting to do it. You know what I'm saying? From whatever facets, you know what I'm talking about. Or colorings, or I guess you could say, how am I terming something, or how am I stating it, different statements and stations. I mean, just kind of like give an example as far as like how you could say one word for another word in English, but you can't always do that when you translate it into another language. I'm likening that to your actions, or to your decisions, or to your goals, or to your contributions, to your lessons in life, basically, and also to your voice. You know what I'm saying? Because evil only wins against itself. Evil is no threat to anything that is not evil. Wait, run it back, rewind. Evil only wins against itself. Because evil is no threat to anything that is not evil. But see, that's where we have to be very careful, right? How we associate, for one, okay? Because this is past just us here and now. One. None of us are where we deserve to be, even the best of us. Two, or part 1B, 1C. Um, it's been a long time. There's been a lot going on. And that's not just something to just ignore at all, no matter what the confusion is. We have to figure out a way to be sure enough, to be surer next time we consider it. However it is we consider it in addition to how we weren't or were considering it, that led to us being able to consider it differently, or to an advanced or expanded extent, is the part as far as people wanting to better themselves and that not really being so popular, realistically speaking. I'm not saying niggas are worthless or people don't care about their life or care about reality. I'm saying it's hard to do that when you don't know exactly how to do that most correctly, most completely. And that's not really what's the funnest thing. That's like a sidebar, you know what I'm saying? That's like a uninvolved following, or what you call it, like when you involvement, like personal involvement, as far as connecting dots and securing your ideas, right? Securing your idea of what's what and why, as opposed to just accepting it as this and spending your time proving that, for the most part, whatever extra time you do have to prove what you've accepted already. Now you want to make a mental note, okay? Keep it in mind. And you have to accept the possibility of it to keep it in mind, sure, but to already accept it as so without accepting the possibility of it not also being so will limit your confirmation, your ability to confirm it in itself. Now, why would a person do that? Well, fear. Why would niggas scare? Because of pain. Okay? Is it painful to fear things? No, sometimes fear protects you from pain. Right? That's what it's in place for. But what is pain exactly? Well, pain is growth. Can't nothing hurt you more than twice. You know what I'm saying? So it's like all these different covert, little special twisted ways of affecting people, right? Of injuring people's mentality and heart, you know what I'm saying? And soul and shit. Let alone their bodies, hoopty wop. You know what I'm saying? Gradually and shit. But as far as accepting something as so and moving on that, that's never necessary, right? Because like I said, things are completely different. It's been a long time coming. It's not never necessary to accept anything, as opposed to, or you know what I'm saying, as much as it's just as effective, if not more, to keep it in mind, to consider it as a possibility. For any reason, you would not just do that and leave it where that belongs, to in the possibles. It's its own underpinned, right, lowered reason in itself. I mean, to speak realistically, you know what I mean, to be open about that, it's always going to be some sort of resentment that's going to lead you to not just say, well, okay, yeah, I could be right, even though I know I have proof that I'm right. You know what I'm saying? I could be wrong that I'm right. Right? It take being right that you're wrong to say that you're wrong, but that's what I'm saying. Like, who's to say who's right and wrong, or correct or incorrect? Like I said, there deserves to be some sort of established certification of reality, because as of now, it's not one. Now, that's either good or bad. But evil only wins against himself. Okay? Now, the thing about that is, it's enough for evil to not really be winning, to win by losing. Somebody got to lose. So might as well be a loser that's losing, right? That's the whole thing, like, about even, you know what I mean? The hero's journey. It's like, if the hero loses or the winner loses, then it's a different message than, of course, the loser losing. Now, if the loser wins, that's a whole nother different message in itself. Okay? But somebody got to lose, somebody got to win. Technically speaking, as of this modern, absolutist sort of like matter of fact type of competitive stage, or you know what I'm saying? What do you call it? What do you call it? Like contentious stage where there's prejudice, right? Where there's ego, right? Where there's deceit, as well as when you work against somebody, right? When you can and conspiracy, basically, where there's conspiracy, a winner is a winner, even if it's a fucking loser, right? So niggas are rigged the whole game, right? Because a winner's a winner, and a loser is a loser. But no, nigga, a winner's a winner if he win or lose or not. Is the part, right? Now, see, that's the sport of it. You know what I'm saying? You can't take the game out the game, right? That's conspiracy. So that's why it stands, and why it's either good or bad, that an established association with reality, my nigga, can be built on. Okay? Because a winner is a winner. Now, out of respect for structure, right? And placement, yes, as well as statement and station, out of respect for that, right? In regards to considering empathetically, yes, or even just agreeably, yes, to where you're contributing to a conglomerative message for whatever's being expressed or communicated or considered or analyzed. You play along, right? You know what I'm saying? You pay your dues here and there. You know what I'm saying? And it comes with what it comes with. And it goes with what it goes with. And that's going to be how it is forever, regardless of what's going on. So yeah, be thinking about if what it is that you're doing is what you should be doing. Because a lot of times it takes that. It always will take that. That's the first thing. That's the whole idea of Adam and Eve to begin with. Right? That's the whole idea of prayer, as well as sin. Right? The word sin, as we said, it comes from a Hebrew source. It's associated. Well, sin actually means different. It means imbalanced. Like similar means symmetrical, basically. Sin is basically non-symmetrical, but it's evolution from its original Hebrew, right? Because sin is based on etymologically, it it it's traced back to a Hebrew term, right? The whole idea of what it is being communicated, as well as stated in the word sin with an I, not a Y, comes from a Hebrew concept, which is actually a different word translated in the language that it actually originates from. The idea of it originates in a particular different language. In the language that the idea of what it is now derived and evolved into this other new term, which is synonymous with other sounds and syllables and letters, right? Like sinnet, right? Sensation, yes? Sent in itself is a word for a woman in ancient Middle Neter, which is the core of hieroglyphics, which become Egyptian, right? Which it becomes Arabic, basically. Sin is a word for man or brother. Sin to say man in reference to a sent, which would be a woman, brother and sister. But man and wife is not necessarily the same words. You wouldn't use those same terms in referring to a man and a woman, except for in relation to them being themselves, basically, and not a union, which would be a man and a wife. Not necessarily not a union, but not necessarily a union, right? So, as far as sin is concerned, and that meaning fucking balanced, it comes from Hebrew, which is representing and referring to the idea of not doing what it is best to do. Whether you do whatever else instead, it's still a sin. I'm not saying you're a sinner. I'm just not saying I give a fuck if you're a sinner. I'm not saying you shouldn't sin. I'm saying what I'm saying. And what the fuck am I saying? I'm saying words, nigga. Words backwards is sword, nigga. No. The same word, same letters and words in sword. And you must be very, very precise. Yes, dexterous with these words. Because you'll fuck around and hurt somebody. Scar them. Yes. Very painfully, and be fearful of your words. Well, shit, man. They might be fearful already, whether you inflict pain upon them or not. Yes? Well, either way, that's the idea of sin. It's basically to fall short, yes? To miss the mark. That's actually the actual definition. A co-definition of that, of course, is not do what you should, which is to miss the mark. To fall short is to miss the mark, okay? So think of a bullseye anytime you think of sinning, right? Yeah, you did what you did, and you might have got 50 points, but nigga, it's 1,000 points in the center of that bullseye. You understand? One martyr, nigga, in that one space. It's at least, what, a good 200 other spaces on that board, brother. There's one center, though. You know what I'm talking about? And that's sin. Simple as that. We all sinning, right? Because for us to throw again is to sin. You know what I'm saying? You get one chance to hit that bullseye, and you can't hit a bullseye twice. You can, but now he's a saint. I mean, I know people that hit the bullseye every time they throw a dart. They can throw it from behind their back. They get across the street. Ain't gonna hit that bullseye. Why? Because they fill it out. They don't even think about it. It's the part. They decide what they're doing, and they follow through with the decision that they made. And that's what it is to not sin. And what is it to not to be sin? Is to be righteous. Yes, this is righteousness I'm speaking to you about. Yes, the actual definition. Yes, is to decide something and not miss the mark of what you decide. So we've been forced to be sinners, even in waking up, going to work, right? We're providing for our family, but even with the jobs that we have, it's creating an atmosphere, right, and enabling pollution, right? So that's not necessarily providing for our family because, of course, they need the earth to live on, right? So, I mean, of course, it's good enough. We got, nigga, 100 points today. For sure, for sure. A sinner's a sin, though, right? And at this point, ain't nobody that's not a sinner, which is the whole idea of, you know what I'm saying? Um, Sons of Adam and shit and all that extra shit, right? But Adam wasn't the first creation, cuz he was just the new creation, right? Once it was already accepted, right? Once we agreed to this construct, right? Conglomeratively or whatever else you feel I'm talking about. So yeah, it is to be thinking about, though. Because that's the only way you're going to figure out, nigga, if you're in a thorn bush or not. And you look around, you know, and you have belonging, you know, you have acceptance, you're surrounded by familiarity, yes. You know what I'm saying? Comfort. You know, it's hard. Your petals is all scratched up and torn. You ain't got but 2 leaves. You're supposed to have 22. And you're bent all out of shape. You're the only wave just waving in the dusty ass hot breeze in a thorn bush. But hey, you got thorns, they got thorns. What can you do? Thorns of a thorn, thorn together. But and a lot of, you know, we can begin to feel self-conscious, you know, and have a sense of loyalty, right? You know what I'm saying? To the structure, to the game, right? But you either a loser or a winner. Now, the same person can be both things. The same person are both things. Okay, is what I'm saying to you. But don't be winning in a losing fucking game. And don't be losing in a winning game, because it's the winning game to be accepting. It's a winning game to be self-sacrificing. It's a winning game to be understanding, right? To comply enough to have a sense of selflessness, of humility, a sense of giving, a sense of service, right? But what really is your motive? Is it so as to camouflage in that thorn bush? You know what I'm saying? You dig what I'm saying? I mean, whatever type of function that got, you know what I mean? Because you have a mark to make, okay? And you only get so many tosses, okay? You only got so many darts, is the part, okay? So let's be figuring out how to be manufacturing darts, you know what I'm saying? At least. While whatever it is, we're figuring out what it is that we're trying to do, or if we winning or losing or not. You know what I'm saying? And what game it is that we playing. I mean, I'm saying a lot of what I'm saying, and that was on my mind to say, because people have different motives for things. You know, different objectives and different ways they see life, and they're convinced, they accept these different statements, and it's not always their fault until it is their fault. And that's when a loser become a winner and a winner become a loser, even though they're the same person. It's not about always who it is. It's about how they do what they're doing, why they're doing what they're doing, and as far as what it is they're actually doing in the game, right? Because if you cheating, of course you're gonna lose. I mean, you're gonna win, but you didn't really win because you cheated, right? Now you can win, but you know, like, you know, you've been basically transplanted basically into this game because of your skill, because of your championship, right? To win a game, but to win the game is actually setting some sort of other message, right? Because of course, how did you get on this team? How did you get on the team that you're playing for, that you're winning for, basically, and they would not have won without your ass, right? If you winning for a team, shit, you on the wrong team, right? If your team cannot, whether they will or not, if they can't win without you, then they shouldn't be winning with you, because it's not about you, right? Because even at that point, it's not about you. It's about the fact that you're on the team. It's not even about you, right? Now, if it was at least a considerable sort of harmony there, right? Some symmetry there, yes, then it would be more about you, because then it would deserve, right? It would actually fit, that you could apply whatever sorts of different elements surrounding it to yourself, growth wise. But I'm saying, like, that's really not the most balanced any other way. And that's something, I guess, I'm speaking symbolically right now. Very, very, very abstract in what I'm saying. It has to do with reality, though, right? And reality has to do with the truth, but it's not necessarily the same thing. Truth is just the idea of it. Okay, that was a good way to close. I'll just close it just then. But I want to say this. We can probably come back to return to it, but I want to say what's on my mind. And because the idea basically is the sin, basically, right? Is the misalignment. Because that's retarding to the spirit, to the soul. To where, like I was talking about, as far as those interested in bettering themselves, yes? Naturally. Who have that, what is called ambition, who have that motivation to inspire, right? Just naturally, just organically. That is a energy that is essential to the overall collective, human collective, most absolutely, as far as where the motive falls and the interests are involved. And that's something also to try to stay aware of and in attention to. And that's going to take communication. That's going to take the sharing of ideas. Okay? In an open form, more so than not. And that's going to take structured platforms, right? I want to say stations, but when I say stations, I'm speaking of like actual ports. You know what I'm saying? Platform ports, like coordinate centers, nigga. Literally. That's what it's gonna take. Kind of like churches, but every church don't talk to every church. Every mosque don't talk to every mosque. Because if they did, then it would transform into more than just a mosque or a church. We can start there, but that's kind of winning a losing game. That's kind of losing a winning game. We can do everything. You know what I'm saying? We got hella darts. What is the decision, though? And I'm not saying that that's a route to take. I'm saying that that route is not being taken, though. I said. Evil only wins against itself. Because anything that is not evil is not threatened by evil. We all have a drop, if not a pint, if not a keg of evil within us. Me, I am the entire watery ocean, black depth, nigga, of fucking evil, nigga. But I'm no threat to anything that's not evil. And I don't make threats. I make statements. I'm just joking. But if you're gonna do anything, don't half do it is all I'm saying. Okay? Decide it, hit it, move to the next dart. Okay? So don't play like niggas is selling themselves short either way. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're not gonna go all the way hard, then it's like, what is it that you even fucking doing with niggas? You know what I'm saying? Because you know what I mean? It's like it's a way that shit goes, and it's like you only get. That's what that dart is for, nigga. You can't throw it. You can't throw the same dart in different places, nigga. Niggas swear like they gonna hit the board with one dart in several places and shit. When there's one place to hit it in one toss. You understand? And anything else is something different, completely different. That's what I'm saying. When I say that, you know what I'm saying? The watery depth of, there's a dark ocean of evil. I only say that because, of course, um, that's Olokun. You know what I'm saying? Olokun represents the subconscious mind and shit. You know what I'm saying? And then you got Yemaya, right? Who is the blue ocean. But that's because, of course, the subconscious now has some light in it to where it is at least some blue. You know what I'm saying? But anything deeper than that, you have to make your own light. Right? Ain't no telling what the fuck is up under there, but it's light up under there, homie. And that light is a different type light. You know what I'm saying? It's an inner light, my nigga. You know what I'm talking about? I'm telling you right now, right? They say you got solar luminescence, right? So the same thing, right? Where you can get light underwater is a science to extract for absolute sure, right? Because why is that? Because it's darkness, right? Light come out of that darkness, which is the source of all life to begin with, right? So I mean, I don't know. I don't want to do nobody's job for them, but I guarantee you what's going on without us realizing it. So I said chemically extract. You know what I'm saying? Chemically synthesize it, basically. To, of course, access as well as hijack, nigga, the subconscious mind in ways as a portal, right? As a very portal in itself. I was saying some shit about some shit right now. I was basically saying evil, right? Because we got evil in us or whatever. But at the same time, it's like evil is no threat to anything that is not evil. Like, if you know what I'm saying, if you don't succumb to evil within you or even around you, um, then it can't prevail. Okay, right? Evil only prevails how? When good men do nothing. Is how. So what is it that I'm saying? To succumb to evil is to not do the best thing. And I've been telling you this. Right? It's looked at a different way because why? Oh, because of shame is why. When it is you do try, right? When you are a winner, but you lose. You know what I'm saying? You're a champion, but there's other champions, right? Right? There's other champions on your team, and you didn't play. You weren't harmonized with them. You weren't synchronized with them as it might have been best. So as to had won that game. You know what I mean? That's another element in itself, right? But it take a loss to be a boss, guys. And what's a winner if not a boss? I said it take a loss to be a boss, nigga. And what's a winner if not a boss, man? If you ain't a boss and you's a winner, well, shit, nigga, you's a loser, nigga. Okay? Because what does it take to be a boss? Well, shit, it take losses, but it takes more than just losses, nigga. It takes harmony. Yes. It takes chances is what it takes. Okay? It takes the game is what it takes, man. Yes. And understanding the game to be a boss. Otherwise, you're just a player. And a loss is a loss. You understand? Unless you're a boss. And we don't want to just be losing for nothing. Because, and I commend you, you know, because you see it for what it is. Even if it's subconscious, right? Light or not. It's beyond just this one life, and it's beyond just this us in this one time. No one is at the point. No one is at the point we deserve to be at, even the best of us. Will we ever be able to be at a better point that we deserve? Well, that's something we have to decide. It's something that has to be decided. It's not an up in the air proposal or proposition or hypothesis or possibility, right? You say, okay, well, I could be right about this, and it says possible, but you don't apply that to where it actually applies. Like deciding what you want for you and what you deserve. And you deserve reality, right? You deserve to be better tomorrow. We deserve to get back to a point to where the decisions we're making are the decisions that we're making. Saying? At this point, it's too much confusion for that to be the case. It's too much illusion for that to be the case. Right? It's too much conspiracy to have to try to fin through for it to stay the case, even where it can be close to the case. Right? It's just adding to, of course, down the line, it being less of the case, and us having to fight even harder to make it back to halfway the case, just for that to expose where we're going to end up having to fight stronger for in the next generation. Now, why is that? It's because of evil, and why is evil? Because of sin. Right? No, now why is sin? Because of evil, and 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 and, and why is evil? Because of sin. What is sin if not evil? And what is evil if not sin? Well, why is this shit not as we deserve it to be? Because of evil, because of sin. But why is it because of evil? Because of sin. Because of sin, because of evil is why. Okay, you take the good with the bad, but even the bad is good because it is what it is. But sin is not even real. It's not what it actually is. It is not complete. It's incomplete is what sin is. So nothing can't be anything unless it is complete, is the part. Right? This is what we're applying when it is that we don't decide exactly where we will be in agreement and have that be open dialogue as to what the plan is and the moves to make. Whoever win or lose, we're going to see who the winners are, who the losers are, because they're the same person. Right? The way you win is by not losing. The way you lose is by not winning. Feel me? We be feeling like losing is just um, not playing good enough. But you was good. You lost good enough. You were successful in losing, so you did that well. And there's a lesson in that, is the part. Because that's what every word is. That's what every statement is. That's what every idea is. A lesson. Every thought is a lesson. It's to teach you something. It's to teach you many things. Every thought you have. You think so as to learn. Yes? To think is to learn. To know is to remember. You think so as to learn. So what are we teaching ourselves when we are taking another person's word for it? Because that's the same thing that we will eventually commit to our memory. But if it is incomplete, then we will also becoming more and more incomplete in every new memory made in accordance to what we've accepted to be known. When you can't know something that's not true. And something cannot be true that is not real. No, I'm just fucking around. I'm fucking around. If something can be true that's not real, then that's how you can know something that's not true. It's real to you enough if you feel like you know it, is what I'm saying also. But yeah, I mean, I want to let that, you know what I mean? I'm gonna let that permeate right there. Why? Because like I said, that's just the idea. That even the truth is just the idea of it. You know, um, knowledge in itself is the abyss in itself. For you to have an established knowledge of something, right? As far as even how it is that you associate it, how it is you refer to it in your mind or as in particular sorts of function, um, presentation of it. Yes. What's the point? Well, shit, nigga. The point is the bullseye. You know what I'm saying? And where that lies for every person's centered self, right? And what is the self? It's your own. It's your dart, right? On this board that is, of course, consciousness. Yes. It's because you got a higher self too, right? So if your self is a dart and you got a higher self, then what would the higher self be in accordance to the board? That would be consciousness. Um, it's that second throw. It's the lesson applied. It's the higher self. You know what I'm saying? You can hit the mark twice, but if you don't, then that's some calculating that you would need to do as far as your full score, nigga. And however many darts and however many throws you got. You know what I'm saying? As far as higher self and self, as well as knowing and all this extra shit. You feel me? Consider it in your mind, right? It's just interesting. It's fucked up because it's like it's whatever else going on automatically all the time anyway. And it's a lot to keep up with. But I'm not saying trying to keep up with it. I'm saying stay on what it is that you're moving about enough. Uh, and that takes added effort, bro. That takes exemplary energy, fam. Trust me, bro. I have jobs, brother. I work to work, fam. I gotta work to make money so as to work. Okay? And then also, I still um, I still also do my own, also work for myself. Right? And I also, you know what I'm saying? Volunteer, nigga. Fuck you mean? On top of working for working. Working in order to work, I also volunteer, nigga. You feel what I'm talking about? Just to be criticized for it, just to be ostracized for it, just to, nigga, just to be targeted, nigga, for volunteering, nigga. Why? For shit. Because it would be a sin not to, nigga. And that's not why, but that's the facts. And that goes for everybody. Because we at this point already, cuz we shouldn't have to be where we at, but that don't change the fact that we in a thorn bush. You know what I'm saying? We can see that. So now we can uproot ourselves, man. Make ourselves to the meadow, man. With the rest of the roses, man. You dig? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Um, as far as like what's going on, what that shouldn't, and why it's going on, if it shouldn't be going on, and what really you feel like you're gonna even actually have any type of stake in um, changing or enhancing. That's not what the focus is. It's what you feel like you're gonna be able to do. Is what it is that you're deciding and why you're deciding. Is it based on an acceptance? It would have to be, unless it's not. And if it's not, then shit, that would be evident enough for nigga, you to be saying what it is I'm saying to other people. Right? Why am I saying it? Because I happen to have a style of articulation towards relatable enough, nigga. That's why the fuck I'm saying it. A lot of niggas feel like this, but they're not really in the same sort of position, such as myself. I think I have my position. I'm a right forward. You feel what I'm talking about? I'm a point guard with the WAP. You know what I'm saying? Other people is quarterbacks. You know what I'm talking about? So that's that, right? And they're on that team, right? They're on the right team, synchronizing, right? There's symmetry, yes. As those that are not deciding based on acceptances, and that's championship, cuz whoever win or lose. You feel me? So we want to see you in the arena, man. Either in the stands or on the field. Okay? Yeah. But suit up, because at any moment, shit, you might be up. You know what I'm saying? It might be on you, basically. You know what I'm saying? This is the type of sport where nigga, even the audience is, you feel me, is engaged and invited to get they play on. You dig? That's the part. Eventually, and that's I think what I see as where it is we deserve to be at. You feel me? That's kind of like the best way analogy I could give you. Like, what are you sitting watching niggas that you can't even do what they doing? That's fine. That's cool. That's all entertainment and shit. Um, but it's still fun to play and not just to watch. And that's what we're doing. We watching politicians make decisions for us. We watching different leaders and you know what I'm saying, pillars, right? And what do you call it? Icons, right? Do for us what we are not in the best position to do better for ourselves or with those that it affects most directly or even more directly than it affects those that's making the decision on their behalf. However fair that is, the energy is the energy, is what I'm saying. And so I like that. I want it to be most authentic for you. And that's the only way that's going to be as authentic as we deserve for it to be, you deserve for it to be, is if you suit it up under whatever those type of casual fits you got on, stunning on, you know what I mean, on the ground, in the stands. If you got your suit on, right, your uniform up under that is the only way the energy going to be as authentic as it should be. That's the way they go. So who got next?